Training on hybrids in electrical cars in 2017. Then I got internship to train on hybrids and electrical cars in Massachusetts in America. And by the time I went there in 2019, I never thought we were going to have this vehicle as soon as, like now, we have a lot of hybrids right now. So it's unbelievable that I was just training, thinking that I just need to be, on board with the latest technology, but not knowing that the need for technicians in Zimbabwe is just around the corner. So right now in Zim we have a lot of hybrids that we are currently working on, and we're hoping that I can be of help in terms of training, because I believe I am the only African who's the ACDC certified master technician in hybrid electrical vehicles, and part of my dream was to train technicians here back home. So that's the other thing that I would like to do, to offer training for these hybrids and electrical vehicles. The Honda Fit GP5, we have plenty of those. They are called strong hybrids in the fact that they can actually drive in EV mode alone. You can actually drive up to maybe 50-60 kilometers an hour in EV mode. Then sometimes when it needs more power, you're going like on a steep road or something like that, or you just need a lot of power. It will then start the engine, then it blends the two sources of power. So that's an hybrid for you. So the electric car itself is actually full electric. There is no engine, there is nothing, there is no sound. So we have this, I wanted to mention that because so that you understand what a hybrid is. So in other words, it's an electric car. It's actually called a hybrid electric vehicle. So it's an electric vehicle, but it also has ICE, like the internal combustion engine. So the beauty about the hybrids in Zimbabwe, why we want to adopt the hybrids at the moment, the country is actually ready for the hybrids because you don't have to worry about the infrastructure in terms of charging the EV side or the electric vehicle side, because it actually charges itself. Because the engine starts, then it starts charging the high voltage battery, which is a good thing. That's what we're ready for right now in Zim. There's no need for charging stations as per se. So a hybrid, you don't service, like sometimes servicing the high voltage system at the battery itself, you can actually service 3 years or something like that. So even the oil changes, the spark plugs that it uses, like your normal spark plug that you change, the hybrid spark plugs, they can actually last about 100,000 kilometers. So that's probably over 3 years that you would drive a car without even changing those. So that's another advantage of a hybrid. And also, in terms of fuel consumption, a hybrid can actually drive about 35 kilometers, even 40 kilometers with 1 liter. So whereas your conventional car can drive maybe 10 kilometers with 1 liter. So a hybrid will actually travel 4 times with the same fuel. So you actually save more. So yeah.
The challenge that we are facing in terms of these hybrid vehicles and also the electrical vehicles ones, though, because they are different, is by handling them. Our guys, our workmanship, our human resources are not yet equipped technically in terms of handling them because of fear of being electrocuted, which is quite scary on our part. So, and also the other part again is on the customer side. They are fearing or they are bearing the cost of mismanagement of the batteries in terms of storage of power. So it's quite a concern of this influx of these hybrid and electrical vehicles, which is quite also affecting us. But on the other note, as fine panel beaters, it's not really affecting us as the repairer of board work. So we are only concerned of how to handle the batteries and also these vehicles, because we'll be concentrating much on the outside or the body parts of the vehicle. So in short, that's how we can see the dangers and also in terms of management of the vehicles.
What's happening currently in Zimbabwe? Like we're talking about Honda Fit GP5, GP1, or you're talking about Toyota Arc or Toyota Prius. They're actually being sold from Japan because they've depleted the battery. The battery itself is done. Like they have a lifespan of about 8 years. That's what they think, the manufacturer. They think the battery, the high voltage battery, lasts about 8 years. That's what they warrant. So right now, if you look at it, like Toyota Aqua and all these vehicles that I've mentioned, they're actually from 2012 2014. Adding the maths up to today, it's over 8 years already. That's why they're getting rid of them. But my hope, like the breakthrough that I think I can bring to the country, is actually refurbishing these old batteries. Then we'll then change my cells and the modules. The good thing about Zimbabwe, like most of the batteries that have got a bigger capacity, the bigger the capacity, the more it can actually drive in EV mode for a longer time, or in fact for a longer distance. Is lithium ion. So lithium, we have lithium in Zimbabwe. So another big thing in Zimbabwe is the catalytic converters. So the challenge is most of them, like I would say, I'll throw you a number, probably 95% of the vehicles that come here in Zimbabwe, they have been removed catalytic converters. So the catalytic converter is more like the reason why we computerize vehicles. So it's all about emissions. It's nothing like they will tell you it's because it's not like that. This thing is about emissions. Catalytic converters actually introduced in 1974. It's an old technology, and they're actually upgrading. We need that because of emissions and also global warming and stuff like that. So we cannot afford to remove the catalytic converters here in Zim, because that's where the issue is. Now the computer won't be able to control fuel. So what's going to do is just add in fuel, because it knows I'm going to the next point, because it doesn't see the efficiency of the catalytic converter. In other words, the computer is there to make sure the catalytic converter is working properly. So if you remove it, you've removed the essence of a computer, and we don't have one. We have over 200 computers in the like latest models.